Right in the Wance.
Right in Wance's head, right there. Okay, good morning. I'm Commissioner Ed Rothstein. Just, here you go.
Yeah, okay.
The last Thursday or last week of July, and as always, let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence, and then we'll get started. Thanks.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll tell you, I love that pledge. Okay, we're going to go right into Priority Carol. What I'd like to do is kick it off with Priority Carol. Myself, first is, with the heat happening, please ensure that if you see something, say something, take care of our community. There are shelter that are in place at the libraries and the senior centers. And let's ensure that we take care of our community the best we can. What I'd like to also do is take a couple minutes and share a bit of thanks to our staff, and also highlight to the community the appreciation I have, and I think as my colleagues have, with our staff. A few weeks ago, we made a decision on changing compensation, which was part of the Siegel study, and it was the maybe second part of that Siegel study, and I think we still have a ways to go dealing with the organization, but the compensation was a big part of it, and we, within our budget, put money towards that compensation, and it allowed us to make significant changes. One of the significant changes, I was had the opportunity to be at the Board of Aging and Disabilities yesterday, and Jeff Degetz shared with the board his ability to hire the folks over at Piney, the superintendent, because of the changes. I mean, so there is the practical impact that this is having, the immediate impact that it's having. There's no doubt we're very proud of the work that our staff has done while we're here, and understanding that the pay scales were not keeping pace with either other jurisdictions or the private community. So we had to look at how to maintain the retention of our staff and how to recruit the best that Carroll County deserves, and it became very difficult. So making the changes in compensation, I think, were very important. So I applaud the work that we all had done in making that decision, and it was a unanimous decision to change the compensation. There was never a doubt, because there was a lot of discussion a couple weeks ago, and I don't want it to get lost from that discussion. There was never a doubt about the staff's dedication to our community. I don't like using the word constituents, because I believe nobody knows Carroll County better than Carroll Countians, and we don't live in ivory tower here in Carroll County government, and we are part of that community. And so that dedication was never in doubt. The question was, how do we recruit, train, retain the appropriate staff and workers and employees and partners that we have to take care of Carroll County's priorities, which is, to me, and I think to all of us, safety, security, education, quality of life, and we do that. So this is, I want to say, just a small step in the right direction, but because it's not. It was a very deliberate step, and a high monetary step in the right direction. To be honest, putting $7 million into our budget towards compensation is significant when you're talking about a $500 million budget. That is a large chunk. And not that we put things to the side, but what we did that I'm so proud of is we put the workforce first in ensuring that we have safety, security, and quality of life. So I just wanted to share that this was a kind of a me to you, to our workforce, but also to the community about how important I believe that, I'm just so impressed with what we're doing. So with that, if anybody wants to add to that, and then we can get into the rest of the Priority Carol. Oh, okay. Let's start with Commissioner Frazier.
Thank you.
Which
There
one are we
you go.
going for? Me?
Frazier.
Okay.
Lou Frazier?
I know. I looked over here and I was
All
going
right.
there. So
Just a couple short things. I was at the BSO is coming to Carroll Community College to do a small concert out there, outside the amphitheater. They had the reception, and then there was a cold front or something coming across. Because it was outside the amphitheater, they decided to cancel it. So I thought it was a good decision because you have all those people up on that mostly exposed area with the instruments and all. We don't want to take a chance on that. The reception was inside, went off without a hitch. Was very nice time to get to talk to some community leaders that way. Unfortunately, we did not have the BSO perform that evening, but talking to the people that were there from the BSO, they're more than willing to come back to Carroll County and perform either there or somewhere else in the future. They like to actually do several events a year if they could. Most notable thing was the Board of Education meeting that I went to this past week. And the reason it was notable is because I was home by 7 o'clock. I couldn't tell you what happened at the meeting. No, there was just not a lot of items on the agenda, but it's the first one I've been home, I think, before 11 since I've been going there. So it was a great night for me, and thank you for the Board of Ed. Of course, I don't know if it had anything to do with the new superintendent overseeing the meeting or not, but I did tell her that this is a precedent that she set. She better keep it going this way. But we'll see. And that's all I have. Thanks.
okay, thanks, Commissioner Wentz.
Okay, couple things for me. First of all, good to see everybody. Gone last week, representing the county, myself and our county administrator went to Detroit with the Baltimore Metropolitan Council. Interesting city. They bankrupted just 15 short years ago, and it's interesting when you walk around downtown in a big city and there are skyscrapers that are sitting empty and very little traffic. It's crazy. And they went from a population of almost 2 million to about 600 and some thousand today. That's how bad it was. But it's good to be together with the movers and shakers from the Baltimore region. Pretty much everybody was there. They're coming out of their bankruptcy because of a lot of philanthropy that's going on up there, and because of their new mayor, Mike Dugan, who is an interesting guy. He doesn't use any politically correct phrases. He'll look at you and tell you exactly what he's thinking. What a breath of fresh air, which is what I might do in the next 4 months. Anyway, there's a group of good-looking guys from the BMC.
Is that shortcut?
And
That's stretching it.
so
Somebody tell you to stand up?
my point. Well, I know it's kind of tough there with Johnny O and Pittman because they're just a tad bit taller than me. But my point in showing this is the fact that the BMC works together. Mayor Scott was there from Baltimore City. I had a lengthy conversation with him about the city, which was interesting. But it doesn't matter what you have beside your name, whether it's an R, a D, or whatever. We all get along there and try to do things that are best for the region. So kudos to the BMC. That was my last official duty with them, and it's been an honor to serve and represent Carroll County on the BMC. So forever grateful for the opportunity I had there. I want to briefly touch on a gentleman who was a mentor to me. It just was 2 weeks ago that I was celebrating the fact that myself and Mike Robinson had a chance to go down and see Oscar Baker at the funeral home. That's where I'm going tonight. At the assisted living facility that he was in, and I think, as I said before, it was an amazing visit where he was dropping names to Mike Robinson from years ago, from his days in Early Heights volunteers, and it's crazy how his mind was so sharp. Sadly, Oscar passed away this past week, and Oscar was instrumental in shaping the fire service here in the county, and was just a mentor to everyone. There I am putting the pin on him, Dick, and Ed, from your veterans event. So just having the opportunity to speak with him, and again, it's just crazy how sharp his mind was. But I appreciate Chris went along and took some photos, and our deepest sympathies go out to the men and women of the Mount Airy Volunteer Fire Department, and also the entire fire service in Carroll County, because Oscar's fingerprint will be forever ingrained in the fire service. Oscar was responsible for deciding that maybe it would be a good idea to put 911 out there where it was, in that bunker. That was his idea, and now we've built upon that. But you know, he touched a lot of lives. So we'll be participating in the next couple days down there, and I want to give our deepest sympathies to everybody down there again. Don't forget the 4-H fair. I'm sure you're going to talk about it, Dick, but my kids are out there today starting to put their entries in, and man, am I glad I'm not at home, because they're going home to bake.
Do you have details about Oscar's viewing? And
Yeah, so that's right. I'm sorry. So the viewing is 2 to 5 today, and 6 to 8 this evening. The fire department memorial service will be at 7 p.m. this evening, and then the funeral is at 11 a.m. tomorrow, and all of this is at the Mount Airy Fire Company building. So that's that. So anyway, 4-H fair coming up. Dick, you'll probably talk on that, but it's the 125th, so we need to get out there and support that. Here's an updated photo of the community center, Charles Carroll. It's coming right along. Actually, these are earlies. The one I had, the one from yesterday, Chris. There it is. That's from yesterday, where the roof is on. And I met with the supervisor up there, and he said, give me 6 days, and I'll have it completely enclosed. There's about 20 folks working up there on the site. What you see here in front is the $18 million stormwater, well, not quite that much, but it's a stormwater management system that was required to be put in up there. But it's coming right along. So the biggest thing I think that I took from there is the fact that the building super told me that there are a ton of people from the community that are stopping in there on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. So again, I can't say enough about that. We'll see more of it as we roll along, but it was great to see the progress that they're making. So hopefully by the time we walk out of here, we'll be able to at least walk into it. So I don't think we're going to be able to see it until next year at some point, realized where the doors are open. You'll see it, and I'll be in the distance, but
you'll be at the ribbon cutting.
But
Yes,
you know, this is part of what I'd hope would be part of my legacy, because I didn't want that community up there to have such a big void. And even in talking, a couple people said to the building supervisor, we can't wait to be able to get back here and actually vote in our community, because they're all split now. So anyway, enough said on that, but you know, it's good to see that. So that's it for me this morning.
Good stuff. Okay, Commissioner Weaver.
Okay, first of all, here again on I guess a negative note. Last week we lost Bill Powell, who was the first manager of ag land preservation here in the county, and he started with the first, I guess, land preservation areas, and some of them I guess right next to me in my area, but they go back to the 1980s, early 80s when he started. So. He did a great job, and just a nice gentleman to deal with, and really made the program work. So just wish his family well. He was an excellent person to start that program in Carroll County. I just want to make one comment here with the comment on Siegel. When we committed to doing the Siegel study, and we committed to following their recommendations, not looking at them and setting them aside. As a board, we made a commitment to follow the Siegel study, their recommendations, and to carry through with them. And that's exactly what we've started to do. And I think we still have to work on, we still have work to do when we get the total study here, but we couldn't wait till get all that together and then look at it. We had to get started on it. Now, on a positive note, Commissioner Wance alluded to the Carroll County 4-H FFA Fair. This is the 125th anniversary for the fair, and it actually started in 1897, which I don't think Commissioner Wance was there for the first fair, but he's been there for a lot of the others. It was in Tawnytown, by the way, and
Wait, what?
You're calling the kettle black. I'd be careful.
That's why I said wait.
and in 1953, they moved around Tawnytown to that area, to 53, and then they moved to the permanent site here at the Agricultural Center in Westminster. And they have changed. I remember going from little buildings, small little just pavilions almost, now to the Shipley Arena, and huge fair as compared to what it was at one time. But it's done a lot for a lot of people in the county. A lot of people still participate in it. And two major areas here. Wednesday night is the cake auction, and that money goes to support the fair.
What's your number again?
Commissioner Wance will be making a significant contribution to the cake auction.
Eating the cake, maybe.
And if he doesn't, we'll do it for him using his number. And then Friday night is the livestock sale, and that is the end result of projects kids carry through with, and that most of that money goes back to the kids, and many of them use it for scholarships and for funding for college and everything else. But
Yeah, to put it in perspective, how much did they raise the livestock last year?
oh my,
It was like 900,000 or something.
something like, it was not quite $1 million.
Yeah, I
they
think
raised
it was
that
like
sale,
$800,000.
came in, and
And
if you want an animal and you only want go together with somebody, get a half an animal or a quarter of an animal, whatever it is, they will have the animal transported to whatever processing plant you want it to go to, and they go out of the way to try to help people or to help the kids get their animals sold. And right now you have a lot of 4-H'ers getting letters from them asking for your support at the sale. And even if you don't buy the animal, if you just bid on it, that's a huge success for a lot of them. And we also try to look sometimes for a young 4-H'er that really hasn't getting started, hasn't done their homework, and we try to help buy an animal that's they don't have a buyer for, or try to help them a lot of times with it. And I will go back a couple years ago. The sheriff and I bought a pig together, and he said, "How do we divide it?" I said, "Well, you take the front half, I'll take the back half." And he told other people that. If you know anything about animals, the high price cuts are in the back end. So when he told about the third person, they finally explained it to him how it works. So anyway, if you can get out and support the fair next week, and Wednesday night we'll be presenting a proclamation at about 6 o'clock, I think, at the cake auction to open that up, and Commissioner Wance will be there bidding vigorously on the cakes. So.
And even if he's not, he's going to be bidding vigorously.
Apparently,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. So that is one of Commissioner Weaver's favorite
Oh, look at
story
that.
about him and the sheriff. And there is Commissioner Weaver in his post-retirement job.
Oh, my.
It's dangerous work.
Oh,
Yeah, just a little hot, that's all.
so
Somebody had to do it.
I'm looking for the kosher pig, and I'll bid on that. So, okay, Commissioner Boucher.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm still envisioning someone buying half an animal and walking it out at a fair. I want to give
I
a.
think it's cut, wrapped, and froze. When
Oh,
you get
okay.
the
All right.
half
That explains it.
Yeah.
I want to give my sincere appreciation.
Mine's at home. Good.
All right, I'm sorry. I want to give my sincere appreciation to Commissioner Wance for giving recognition to Oscar Baker. It is so important for us to recognize the contributions made by generations in front of us and what they've committed to our community, and he certainly did that down in my district in Mountain Airy. So thank you for recognizing him a couple weeks ago. That was timely. I think so often we never know when someone's going to go, and I feel like at this age we're kind of next in the queue and a reality setting in. So everyone out there, make sure you give everything you can to your community. This is a wonderful place to live, and your fellow citizens will honor you for it. Last week I went and did walk in the park out at Freedom Park. What an absolutely gorgeous park that is. I've never walked all around that loop. It's a 1.9 mile loop out there at Freedom Park, and I believe part of it is actually Patapsco State Park, so you get to go walk around some more wooded areas. It was shaded. It was about 92 degrees when I was out there. It wasn't a big crowd. I was amazed the people who showed up did, but they made sure they had water. We all stayed hydrated. And it was nice to walk with individuals, constituents, and talk to us about their concerns. So it's a wonderful opportunity. Please go to the county website, Park and Recs, and check the schedule for Walk in the Park. We'll be doing this every month on up until the end of our terms in December. And I very, very much enjoy the opportunity to go talk with people as I begin to enter the end of my term. Also want to thank everyone who came out and voted. Tomorrow, the voting will be certified and finalized. I'm in an election with a very narrow margin, and I'll get better sleep once this is all done. But I really want to thank everyone out there who took the time to vote, not only for myself, but every other individual who was on the ballot. This is what's so wonderful about our nation, that we can put our own citizens up to run for office, and we all get to voice our opinions and our candidates to represent us. This is such a wonderful nation, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to represent everyone here. So thank you very much.
Okay, let's get started then to a public hearing. Amendments to Carroll County Code of Public Local Laws and Ordinances, Chapter 36, Personnel Policies.
Good morning, Commissioners. As the President said, the purpose of today is to convene a public hearing to elicit some public testimony, if any, from members of the public that are here or on the phone on proposed amendments to our personnel ordinance. That's Chapter 36. I would note that this was advertised in the Carroll County Times in accordance with state law 2 times before the date of this public hearing, and that on July 7th you authorized staff to proceed with the public hearing. So with us today are Budget Director Zaleski and Kim Frock from Personnel. She's here to talk about, give you some quick highlights of what they talked about on July 7th.
Should we ask if there's anybody in the public right now?
Pardon me?
Should we ask if there's anybody in the public right now to talk?
Yes, do we have any members that want to
You
talk?
do the
Oh,
background.
Don't you want to, I mean,
Do the
usually we do a
background
little
first.
overview.
Do the background for,
Yeah.
okay.
And then,
Yeah.
and then.
Okay.
But it's up to you.
Mark's next.
Okay. So on July 7th, when we came, as Tim said, we talked about the substantial changes, and I'll just recap those. The increase in the amount of compensatory time that employees will be eligible to maintain. The increase in the annual and sick leave, known as the Wance Amendment, through year 11 of employment. An increase in the amount of annual leave to carry over from year to year. Allowing employees on initial probation to use their annual and personal, which will make it much easier for them when they start. Removing the limit on sick leave usage for family sick leave, so no longer 8 days. You can use whatever sick leave you have for your family members if you need to, and to implement that on-call stipend that we thought was a good thing to have for folks. You authorized us to proceed to public hearing in this matter. I sent you the only written comment I had received. I sent that yesterday, so you all should have that in your books. And with that,
Board have any questions?
Okay.
That was the gentleman who worked for the
he's
federal
retired
government
federal, yes.
Right.
and had some suggestions, but I didn't. Did you see anything in there that of note that we? I mean, I think he was agreeing with most of what we did, right?
Most of what we did. The increased accrual to be able to carry over, he did not agree with. And the increase in the number of days, he did not agree with. But
Okay.
everything else he did.
Okay. It's good to get a perspective from somebody sort of outside, to get that.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
So
Okay.
that's all I have if you want to start taking testimony.
Is there any other questions or comments?
No, sir.
Okay, now.
Does anybody here have any public comments on the proposed ordinance? Chris, do we have any callers?
No callers on the line.
Things have to be louder.
Okay.
He's the voice of gold.
Mr. President, we appear we have no comments on the proposed amendment.
Okay.
I'll
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion. The board close this hearing for the record and consider a motion for adoption.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second. Is there any other discussion on this? Seeing here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
We will get these changes in place, and we will be able to make the leave changes effective on August 4th.
Right.
We'll be working with Technology Services to do that.
Thank you very much for all the work.
Yeah.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Interesting. Okay, now let's talk about the 2022 spring amendment to the 2019 Water and Sewer Master Plan.
Good morning. We are here before you today to follow up on the public hearing we had 2 weeks ago on the Water and Sewer Master Plan, the spring amendment. And we've received no comments to date, so with that, are there any questions?
Why would we question if we receive no comments, Linda?
I don't know.
Formality, right?
Yes,
Bryce,
correct.
why would we do that?
Because they got all dressed up today.
That's right. I'll dress up in no place to go. We need to.
Well, if you want questions, I guess, no.
Well, I'm going to make the motion that we adopt the 2022 spring amendment to the 2019 Water and Sewer Master Plan. Somebody should have questioned the dates, at least.
I know.
Okay, I got a motion, I got a second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
That was easy.
Hey, one thing, while I
You
had
can't
you
ask a
here-
question now.
No.
Before the motion.
No, this is proof. One thing, I just want to highlight, Linda, and you and your team, all the work that you've been doing, and what we as a board have been doing over the last 4 years in implementing a lot of activity with the master plan and executing the Freedom Plan. I mean, we don't seem to highlight it as much, because you don't want to pat your own back, but this, board has done an incredible amount of work in the last 4 years in executing a lot of these activities.
Yes.
And it's not necessarily behind the scenes, but it's but the effects are just incredible. And getting community input has sometimes not been so much fun, but incredibly important. And listening to the community, whether it's the Charles Carroll Community Center or it's the execution and implementation of the homes down in Zabel and Beatty properties, or it's the Harrison Leisure property. That's a lot of work. And I think where I'm going is, one, my appreciation to you and your team, but also capturing it, and it's something that we should be able to capture, because it has been a lot, and we have not adjusted our taxes or increased our employments, here in the county. So,
Absolutely.
okay, just wanted to throw that out to you.
Thank you for your continued support on all our efforts. We really do appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank
Now-
you.
Get a lot of work sessions with you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, you got some more coming up. Stay tuned, starting next week.
Okay, now go back to work. Okay.
I won't be here.
Setting of the school impact fees.
Ted? He forgot.
Ed.
Kid will be running down the hall.
He is.
Jeez.
He obviously didn't drink his Dr. Pepper or something this morning. I don't know. Or Mountain Dew.
Mountain
I
Dew.
apologize. Mountain Dew. Yeah, one of those things I don't drink.
So my drinking habits aside,
Go easy on it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
for a number of years now, I'm not sure exactly when we did this for the first time, but the school impact fee has been set to $0. The reason that has been that way is because we no longer had projects happening, school construction projects, that would qualify for the use of impact fees. And sometimes people will say, well, you're going to need them someday. Why wouldn't you keep collecting it so you have it? The problem is, court cases surrounding impact fees have led to a general thinking that you cannot accumulate the money indefinitely. It has to be attached to a plan to spend it. And there's nothing that says this specifically, but 6 years has been used as kind of a reasonable time frame to say you can keep it for about 6 years, but if you don't have a plan then you need to return it. Now, administratively, returning impact fees to people that paid it would be a real pain. So if you believe you're in that situation, then it makes sense just not to collect them in the first place. We are still in that situation. So what we're here today is to suggest to you that you extend this again at $0. Now, another question that will come up or could come up in connection with this is, well, there are other needs. Why don't you collect money for replacing roofs or maintaining the schools? And impact fees are not eligible for that. Impact fees are a very restricted revenue. There's a thin line for what you can do. And then on school construction, another thing that could come up, we have discussions going on in South Carroll about elementary schools, specifically Freedom, but there are other concerns. Well, why won't you need it for that? And the problem is, even if we get to the point of saying that we're going to construct something down there, and I think we're still far from that point, for impact fee purposes, Carroll County is one impact fee area, all of our schools. And we can't just look at one school and say we want to add on to that school and use impact fees if there is capacity available in other places. And similarly, this is not the time for this today, but a similar idea could apply to discussions that will be coming in the future. When we look at state funding for school construction projects, they also look at what capacity do you have in other schools before they will agree to fund a school, which is the reason that the state did not participate in Manchester Valley High School, because they said you have capacity available to you. So all that said, I don't believe our situation has fundamentally changed. I think we should extend this. How long we extend it is up to you and does not commit you to anything. If you said we're going to extend this for 2 years and 6 months from now you think things have changed, it's still in your hands to change that decision.
If I may, would it be wise to extend it to the next budget deliberations, to pass it off to the next board to make a decision on it? Would that be a good idea, or you have any suggestions?
It's not going to come back.
We can tie it to, I'm not sure what date that would lead you to pick, because the budget deliberations extend a period of time. But again, whatever date we pick, it's always in the board's hands to pick or to bring it back up again another time.
If the next board wanted to
We can just
raise impact fees or put impact fees back in, they can do that at any time.
All right.
right.
And the fact is, the school population is still below what it was,
Okay.
I think, two or 3 years ago.
10 years
So
ago.
I don't see a reason to
And
do
then
this.
this is also one of the reasons why having a redistricting process in place through CCPS is so important, because we cannot make clear decisions using funds if they don't do their part. And that's frustrating, and I'm not so frustrated at CCPS. or the board of, that's not my point. Is we got to work together so we have a clear picture of what the county's capacity is, from top to bottom, from east to west. Once that's done, then we can, focus on this.
And that's countywide redistricting.
Absolutely.
It can't
It has to
happen
be.
in sections like they're
Right.
looking at it now. It's got to happen overall, or our hands are tied on funding and.
So I think maybe, and I know, I would expect that the schools know about impact fees, and they know that if they do this, that this could be a tool used for funding. Maybe it's a way to energize the process for redistricting.
And here again,
Then it's not a question to you, but I'm just saying this is part of the process, that it's not one or the other. It's got to be a county-wide approach. So
communication is a key to this between the two boards. And okay,
so
I don't know. I think we just maintain, but
yeah.
I wonder what other counties are doing based upon the fact that the state legislature the state legislation has made inroads when it comes to partnering with the Maryland Stadium Authority on school construction. Wonder if there's, because I remember the talk down in Annapolis last year, or the year before, and County Executive Jan Gardner served from MACO on that work group. Wonder if it doesn't apply to us, but
Well, that is all happening, and our East Middle School project is tied to the Maryland Stadium Authority
right.
funding. Then Career and Tech is still being funded out of the traditional program.
Yeah, I only bring it up because I don't know that the impact fees are even going to be around at some point. I don't know. With the new way of looking at the funding that's coming from the state level.
Okay, well,
I don't know.
what funding is coming from the state does not reduce how much funding is required from the counties. All it does is make the possibility for more projects to happen.
Okay.
But we're actually in a situation where in Carroll County where the requirement, our part of the responsibility is going up.
Ted, what was the impact fee before? Do you have any idea? Remember what we had?
5,000, 6,000? Deb thinks it was about 6,000.
I thought it was around 6.
Yeah, that's right.
Somewhere around there,
Yes.
anyway. Yeah. Per
Yeah.
house. Yeah.
Yep.
For newly constructed.
Right.
Newly constructed home, it was
Not-
$6,000
not-
added on to
Not if you're here.
the fees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Okay.
And that adds up. I mean,
Two houses is like 12,000 then.
Well, there was a time when we were building 1,000, 1,200, 1,400 units a year. It was a significant revenue source.
I'd say monkey math, but it's just not worth it.
No, I wouldn't do that.
I'll make the motion the Board of Commissioners continue holding the school impact fee at 0 until June 30th, 2024.
second.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second. Any further discussion on this? All in favor? Aye.
Where'd you get that?
Pulled it out thin air.
It's the end of a fiscal year.
See, I can't reach that high.
See, if you would have reached it in 2023.
Exactly.
I retire, so.
He took his shoes off and counted.
Exactly.
Okay, let's talk about genetic advantage support renewal. Mr. Ripper, come on up. No? Okay.
Nope.
Maureen,
Mr.
16, come on up.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Morning.
We are here to request your approval for the renewal of Gentech Advantage support to Marathon Technology Solutions Incorporated. The cost is based on the number of devices connected to our Gentech system, and the amount is $30,156.55 for 1 year. And if you have any questions, I'll turn it over to Sixton.
And good morning. This request is related to the support we have directly with Genentech, the software manufacturer, not Marathon itself. So we're purchasing through them, but this allows us to call Genentech directly for support, download updates, all the security patching, all those things that we get directly from Genentech.
I mean, why do it for a year and not 5 years?
The way Genetec we currently have it structured with Genetec, it's on an annual renewal. That's something we could look at in the future.
How long have we been using Genetec?
8 years.
Okay, I ask that you take a look at multi-year. You know, I mean, if we're a faithful, servant of them or customer of them, then we may have some dollar cost savings associated with it. So, okay.
Have we increased the number of devices that we've connected to the system? I'm sure we have, right?
We have, yes.
And that means the annual price goes up.
Correct, because the annual price
So that might be where you get jammed a little bit.
That's true, because the annual price is based on the number of cameras and card readers and
Right.
intercoms that are connected to it.
And typically, we're always adding to that.
We have not reduced anything.
Yeah. We'll probably put something similar to that on the community center up in Silver Run,
We are,
right?
yes, yeah.
So
there
see,
are-
that'll
are
add to that,
multiple
too, so-
devices planned for that site.
Yeah.
What community center? No, I'm kidding.
Can I get a car? No, I'm kidding. All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think based on that it's ever changing with our buildings and stuff. It's probably a good idea to do it on an annual basis, but it doesn't mean you can't look at it. But
Sure,
just
sure.
so I'll move that we approve the renewal of the support for Genetec Advantage to Marathon Technology, $30,156.55.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now let's talk about Asset Essentials software renewal of contract. Okay.
And we're here to request your approval to award the support renewal of Asset Essentials to Brightly Software Incorporated in the amount of $30,356.57. Brightly Software was awarded a competitively bid contract through Sourcewell, and this money is approved within the FY23 budget, so no additional funding should be required, and I'll turn it over to Mark for your questions.
Morning, Commissioners. It's a pretty simple software. It's an asset management program for the Bureau of Facilities. Not only does it track all of the work orders that are put through, but it also helps the agency determine what costs might be in the future, what they need to look at, and how to move forward with their various things that they do to the buildings.
Why do we want to help TP? No, I'm kidding. Sounds good. I'll move that the Board of Commissioners approve the renewal of support for Asset Essentials to Brightly Software Incorporated, amount of $30,000, $30,356.57.
Second.
I got a motion, I got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Talk about purchase and installation of workstation partitions. Morning, Chris.
Morning.
We are requesting your approval to award the purchase and installation of workstation partitions to Duron Incorporated in the amount of $27,979.36. Duron Incorporated was awarded a competitively bid contract to the Baltimore Regional Cooperative Purchasing Committee. And this money, again, is approved in the FY23 budget, and no additional funds should be needed. And if you have any questions, I'll turn it over to Chris.
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. So the partitions that are in our work area were obtained by the county when the addition to the building was constructed back in 1998, and they were purchased used. They were 20 years old at the time we purchased them. So they are now close to 40 years old and have 40 years of dust and whatever else accumulated to them. So I discussed the idea with facilities to replace those, and facilities agreed it was a priority and added them to the capital budget. So the budget amount is approved, and we're just looking to move forward with purchasing them.
So you want to get rid of this historic item?
Yes.
Got our money's worth out
In
of
that
it.
case,
Yes.
we'd be getting rid of Commissioner Weaver.
Did you ever think about an open concept?
You know, one thing is changing workspace and making it more appealing for the workforce. Sometimes it's difficult to get an objective, sense, an objective feel for it, but subjectively you can. So, in 4 months, 6 months, whatever, get that feel for the change in environment and productivity. 'Cause I think it's a great idea to continually, listen from the workforce. Hey, how can you make this more appealing?
Yes.
See, they're going to be there, so this is a way. So, okay.
I agree completely. Thank you.
I'll move the Board of Commissioners approve the purchase and installation of workstation partitions to Duron Incorporated in the amount of $27,979.36.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion, I got a second. Any discussion? Seeing here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
absolutely. Now
you, Director.
let's talk about the airport roof materials and repairs.
Good morning, Mr. Myers.
Good morning.
Hey, more Mark.
No guitar today?
I'll spare you.
Okay.
Okay, Mark and I were here before you in June and received approval to send a letter of intent to Garland DBS to order material for the roof and repair at the FBO building at the airport for a cost of $142,983. Since the board's approval, a new quote was requested from Garland to include the removal and replacement of 6 skylights and repair any of the rusted metal panels, panel areas. The additional cost is $66,552, making the project cost estimated at $190,487. This is within the adopted FY23 budget. No additional funds should be needed. And if you have any questions about the project, I'll turn it over to Mark.
Is this from the enterprise fund or?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Got to fix it.
I mean, yeah, it's got to be done.
Got to be fixed.
Right.
We want to do it right.
Yep.
Right.
And so often with roofing, as soon as you start to tear into something, you realize there's additional damage that is done. So this is pretty standard. Thanks for accommodating my surprise visit on you this week and going over these details. I move that the Board of Commissioners approve the additional cost of $66,552 to Garland DBS Inc. to complete the roofing repairs at FBO building at the Carroll County Regional Airport.
Second. Commissioner Weaver, since you just done some roofing, you think it's a good idea?
I mean, that's what I was going with. Your expertise in roofing. Do you feel like this
They're
is?
sending you out.
I can handle this.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I'm just asking. Just.
Yeah, no, that's all right.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Discussion on this one. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, commissioners.
Yep.
No more leaks.
Thanks, Mark. Okay, now let's talk about Cressley Court drainage improvements.
We are here to seek your approval to use the county's term contractor Stanballs Incorporated to perform improvements to an existing drainage system in the amount of $126,850. This is within the project budget and no additional funds should be needed. And I'll turn it over to Chris if you have any questions.
Good morning. The Bureau of Engineering received complaints from area residents of Cressley Court in reference to excessive runoff from Deer Park Road and associated erosion. In August of 2021, the Bureau of Roads Operations received a notice from the Bureau of Resource Management regarding erosion along Deer Park Road as part of a stormwater facility. After much discussion with Bureau of Resource Management and the residents, we developed a plan to address both of their concerns. We'll be making necessary repairs to the stormwater facility along Deer Park Road, upgrading existing storm drain pipes, installing some head walls, some inlets, constructing a trapezoidal waterway, and the associated outfalls. We did receive 3 prices from our term contractors. We received 2 bids. The third vendor declined to give us a price to complete the work. Stanballs has completed similar work for us in the past and been very happy with their work.
I'll move the Board of Commissioners approve the using term contract with Stanballs Corporation to complete the improvements in the amount of $126,850.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this? I always appreciate when you're providing the description, you're answering the questions that you're expecting to hear. So
We try.
You do you do wonderful. So, all in favor?
Aye.
great work. And again, our success is with the staff's ability to get this into our budget and have us approve that budget, by May 31st, and this gives us the opportunity to execute it. So seeing that it's within, the budget and no additional funds necessary is always a good thing, so.
Yes.
Good job. Thanks, Maureen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay, is there any public comment out there, Chris?
No, sir.
Okay.
Voice from above.
Yes, sir. No, sir.
So, anything for open admin?
One thing, yeah,
Oh.
couldn't tell if that was on or not. Several weeks ago, the board heard from planning staff about a request for annexation up in the Tawnytown area. I think the Sewell property is the actual name of the property. The board agreed to the annexation and forwarded it on to the city of Tawnytown, and now citizens have asked that the board put on their agenda a discussion about whether or not you want to ask the town or compel the town to go to referendum on that. So I'm just asking if you would like that to be an agenda item on your future agendas.
So my initial response is no. And it is in my district, and I've certainly have heard all about it from a lot of folks. But, we've often said on this board that who knows best than the towns themselves. And I don't know that I want to get into the area where we initially give the town the responsibility of going ahead with it, and then the town actually does the work that they're required to do and do all of the homework that they need to do and make the decision, only for us to come back and say, well, maybe we don't agree with your decision. It seems like that's a really bad precedence to set.
Good analogy.
And we're telling our 8 municipalities that, and we have, and 3 of us have done this for 8 years now, of telling our municipalities, you got it. We know best. If you need help, we got it. We'll help you out. But to question decisions that they make on the backside just seems like a really bad precedence to set, and I think could really affect the relationship and the working ability of our municipalities moving forward. So that's my 2 cents. I just think, again, they've got the handle on this. Certainly our planning department assists our municipalities in all things, land management, plan, water, sewer, whatever. But who are we to say, yeah, because we said that. Go ahead, we're good with it. And then for us to come back and say, oh, okay, now we're not.
Was this to go on referendum for the town
So
votes?
keep in mind, this is not the agenda item, okay?
No, okay,
We're-
okay.
This
This
is
is only
merely
to whether
whether
we
the
want-
board
Oh,
wants
no,
to
we
put
don't
it
wanna go
on
back.
your agenda.
I just don't think it's a good idea to set this precedence. I just don't.
I apologize. I agree with you, but what were you just saying?
We're not deciding whether or not you would require a request that Tawnytown put it on referendum. That's not what we're discussing. This is merely whether the Board of County Commissioners wants this item as an agenda item at a future board meeting.
Yeah.
Commissioner Wance seems to be saying no.
No, how about you go to Tawnytown's town council meeting? 'Cause once in a while I do that with Sykesville when there's question and saying, hey, I'm open to listen and.
I certainly can do that, and that's fine, but I don't want them to get a sense that I'm going to go there with the idea that I'm now going to come back to you guys and say,
No.
oh, okay, well,
No,
now I think we should change now.
No, and
Change our minds.
I would make sure they understand that that's
Right.
absolutely the case.
I think it's,
Yeah,
I think what I've said is pretty clear.
Yeah.
Crystal.
I mean, it would be like you telling, Sykesville that,
I know.
hey, that 852 project that you're doing, I mean, it's not the same thing, but an example. You made the decision But now I don't know that we like that decision.
And
Or
this-
Westminster, or any of our
No, no,
municipalities.
This was requested by the landowner, if I remember correct, right?
Initially, that's correct.
The annexation?
Yes.
And the town actually initiated the annexation. The town initially actually was the one who initiated the annexation. The reason they initiated it was because if the property owner did, they would be then responsible for the property tax difference from the agricultural to now the residential district. So they had worked out a negotiation with the town to have the town initiate that legislatively.
So yes, Dick. I mean, and this goes to property rights a little bit here, or not a little bit, but a lot.
A lot. This is their, yes, this is property rights.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't want to be the bad guy here, and if there's other opinions, I'm certainly open to it. But I just think it really sets a bad precedence for this group of commissioners to essentially put a thumb down on municipalities that know best in their municipalities what they should or shouldn't be doing. I'll stop.
Yeah, I have to agree 100% with you. And with that said, if they ever do want us to sit on a meeting and you're going to attend, I'd attend with you in support of your position.
Okay, so we won't put it on the agenda,
No.
and I'll let the inquirer know.
I did have one item I want to bring up.
Yep, I'm done, yeah.
Okay. Tech Center contacted the police department about donating a used police car to the Tech Center for the, I'm not going to say police academy, for their, what do they call that academy, Dennis?
It's the training, right? It's
It's
the
public,
trainings.
not public safety, it's the, can't remember the name of it. Well, for the training center there, for the Tech Center for their,
Are there auto mechanics people?
no,
or-
this is for the police,
The police, it is up in North. at North
security program.
Tech Center?
Huh? The Tech Center, yeah, they have a,
They have a vehicle they want to donate. They want to.
yeah, they have a,
And they're saying, hey, Sheriff's
I
Department.
can't remember
Take it.
what they call the whole thing, but it's not the police academy, it's a,
Who wants to donate the vehicle
Yeah,
now?
we're all confused.
Yeah, I don't know where you're going.
the Tech Center would like a
Career
used,
and Tech Center, Carroll County Career.
yeah, out-of-service police car to be donated to them to use for their students in this program.
So
Oh,
they
it's
want the
flip-flop.
police to give them
Okay,
When it's
Car.
out of service,
it's an out-of-service
they can
car
use for training for their students.
for training
Not on
in,
the road,
in their safety whatever program they have. They're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
not in building the car or
No, not
auto
building the
mechanics,
car
right.
at all. This is just
It's a
simply
safety kind of thing. I
using
gotcha.
their training
All right.
academy for law enforcement training academy.
Well, but I guess, yeah, because we kind of talked a little bit, but is it an issue for us? I mean, why can't they just do it?
it's not, we work with we'll take care of it.
It can, I don't see why it can't happen. I was getting
No, it
calls
can.
from
Yeah.
them. Is when they take one out of service, they can keep it at the Tech Center for X amount of years and update, but the kids get to,
We'll work on it.
part of their law enforcement training program.
Okay.
I didn't even know the Career Tech Center had a law enforcement training.
Neither did I. I thought it was just the EMS stuff.
No.
Okay.
Good for them. Okay.
We'll
Anything
talk
else
after.
for?
I can't believe
Yeah, I
I
wanna
couldn't
bring one-
remember
one
the
thing
name
up.
for it. It's, I might not have it right yet, but it's still, it's what it amounts to in law enforcement training.
Commissioner Wance, we should do a tour.
One thing I want to bring up, since
Put him in the back. See.
I've been biking a lot lately because of the weather, I'd like to, if we could take an inventory of around our buildings that we own, see how many of them have a bike rack. And a bike rack similar to one that we have in front of our building. Because I was biked up to the Farm Museum for an event up there, and they have a bike rack there, but because of the new e-bikes with the fat tires, you can't put it in that bike rack.
Oh.
You can't lock it to that. I'd like to see an inventory taken of all of our buildings to see if we have the bike racks there, because if we want people to bike or use alternate means of transportation, you have to provide some infrastructure. And I have to say, the cost of e-bikes is not the same. It's much more than the cost of a regular bike. If you just lock it, and I do lock my bike all the time, someone could just pick it up, put it back of a truck, and take it. I'm not willing for that to happen. I
So
don't
you
think
want us
anybody
to
else
do
would be either.
an inventory and audit of all the bike assets we have and
Bike
see where
racks
we're at?
that are at our buildings. And then that would be the first step, and then to see about, because the bike rack we have in front of this building was donated. Maybe seeing if someone would donate a bike rack here and there
I think it's a good idea.
for that. I mean, like I said, if you want people to use bikes or to use a walk or whatever, here's a great picture. You have
At
to
Hell's
have-
Angels.
You have to have the infrastructure in place for them to do it. I don't think it's a major thing, but I think it needs, I
I thought
think,
that was President Biden on his way down. No.
Why don't you just, why don't we just plant a tree?
so hook it up to a tree.
Yeah, just change it to a tree.
I've hooked mine to light poles and other stuff, but it's not the best, believe me.
Honestly, I think it's a great idea. I'm not sure why it has to be. It can be brought up here for attention to.
Yeah, well,
the
so that we can direct
alternative
staff to
means,
do
but,
that.
I mean,
It's all
that's
good.
just staffing.
I got it.
Yeah.
Got it?
It's the criminal justice program.
Criminal justice, that's it, I knew I had.
Okay.
So close, Weaver, you're so close.
Did you say fat tire or flat tire?
Depends on how heavy you are sitting
Well,
on
I
the
was just
bike.
wondering. Because if it's got a
Whether
flat
you've
tire, I'm
inflated
not
your-
stealing it.
Okay, is there anything else?
Yes,
for-
unfortunately, I have one. So, the Miss Carroll County Scholarship Pageant's coming up on September the 24th at Westminster High School at 7 p.m. Well, they've stopped the registration, but there are 25 young ladies from Carroll County who are going to be in the pageant, and they formed a new group. That's being the executive director is actually Miss Maryland from Carroll County. That she was Miss Maryland in 2016. Hannah Brewer Curtright, and they're going out and soliciting a lot of prizes and scholarships, etc., for the winner. So, because this is a Miss Carroll County pageant, that feeds Miss Maryland, that eventually feeds Miss America, and both of those organizations are involved as well. I would like to entertain, after we do the homework to ensure that we're doing whatever here, the idea of providing a scholarship for the winner from Carroll County government, or the Carroll County Commissioners, if you will. And I'm looking at a $1,000 scholarship. So I'm not looking for that to be decided upon today, but if we want to make sure we do the right homework to provide that, I'd like us to take that up and look into whether we can do that.
Well, I think if, upon the right homework being done, that we just move forward with it.
Okay?
I mean, I don't want to make it.
No, I don't want to make a big deal about this,
Right.
but I want to make sure that we do it in the correct manner. But we provide scholarships for other,
I think it's a nice idea.
so I think it's
Sure.
And again, it's really getting a lot of interest
Is that a
out there, and I
motion?
think it's going to be a good event. So.
Yep. Dick, you have any issue on that? No? Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else for open?
I mean, you want?
We need a motion,
We
or
need a motion? I mean, I think upon doing the
Okay.
appropriate work,
You just let it. Okay.
let's just move forward.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
got it.
All right.
Okay, is there anything else for open admin?
Did you say flat tire? I'm sorry.
Okay, come on up before it gets too silly.
Crazy.
Agendas. So on Monday, August 1st, it shows nothing on the agenda. However, the Chamber of Commerce is hosting a 4-H and FFA fair breakfast on Monday morning. We as the board will be invited, or have been now invited. So I will be attending. I'm not sure who else will be attending.
I'll be there.
Okay.
I'm not sure, depends on the time.
8
I'm-
o'clock.
I think it's 8 a.m.
It's typically.
I'm leaving Monday, but I'm not sure
Yeah.
when I'm leaving,
Yeah.
what time.
I'm going to try to be there as well.
Okay. So we'll solidify that. On Tuesday, August 2nd, I'll be attending a Fort Meade Alliance Rising Stars event. It's a crab feast. Really cool. Rising Stars, it's young entrepreneurs workforce in the region. On Wednesday,
Crab feast.
huh? It's a
Said you had me at crab feast. Nothing.
Yeah,
Go
no,
ahead.
I'll tell you, it's sold out, and all those funds go to actually another
You can't go.
scholarship,
No,
a Ken McCready scholarship. Wednesday, August 3rd, we have as mentioned by Commissioner Weaver earlier, the 125th anniversary of the fair, along with the cake auction. We'll be doing a proclamation at that. Planning Commission is
You take my
virtual.
name off of there, please. Go ahead.
I was
I'm
getting
sorry.
ready to comment, there's cake involved and all 5 of us are gonna show up.
The Planning Commission?
Yeah, obviously that there won't be any representation unless somebody wants to leave the fair and go, but I don't.
Right.
It's their typical work session.
Right.
So there won't be a commissioner at that meeting.
Correct. Okay. On Thursday, August 4th, public hearing for amendments to chapters 38, 150, 153, 154, 159, 160. Let's see. Exercise an option to purchase Critical Farm Program, the Douglas and Sandra Zepp property. I've heard that name Zepp before a few times. Employment Campus Solar Text Amendment. I-1 and C2 Districts Text Amendment. Approval of resolution for fiscal year 22 centralized agency year-end adjustments. Project management software subscription renewal. Annual agreement with Keystone Public Safety. Purchase of installation of air handler and condensing unit. Purchase of 3, not 2, but 3 Skag Turf Tiger mowers. I'm looking forward to that. Purchase of 2 Ventrac tractors. And a purchase of a new roll-up door. Okay.
Hopefully staff brings photos of the items that we're purchasing. That's always nice.
And then in the afternoon, the board will have our initial work session on agricultural and conservation codes being facilitated by Ms. Eisenberg, excuse me, Director of Department of Planning. Nothing on Friday, nothing on Saturday. Sunday, Commissioner Frazier has the podcast. Following week, we have nothing scheduled for Monday. On Tuesday, I will be attending the Ag Center board meeting that evening. Wednesday, nothing scheduled. Thursday, approval of resolution for FY22 year-end adjustments by Mr. Zaleski. And then that afternoon, our second work session for agricultural and conservation codes. Nothing scheduled Friday, Saturday, and Commissioner Boucher has the podcast on Sunday, August 14th.
There'll be more items. There always are.
Yeah, well, if not, I was going to suggest that we
Yeah, we'll,
move the work session up, but
right.
Yeah.
Early
even
days.
if there's only a couple,
Yeah,
why not? Why wait till 1 o'clock?
I agree.
I'm bringing one more thing up because we're not closed yet.
What?
Because we're still open, right?
We are
If
still
we're
open.
looking, I was just thought about since we're talking about parks. Let's look at bike racks for the parks as well, not just buildings.
And the schools? What about the schools?
Schools should do that on their own, but it's a good idea.
Sheriff's Department?
It's our building.
It's one of our buildings. I'm trying
Well,
to,
you heard that from her.
trying to confuse me over here.
Okay. Is there anything else? I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second it. Okay, is there any discussion about adjournment? All in favor?
Aye.
Against?
No.
I was waiting.
We're adjourned.